Ferrari. Ferrari has been the literal poster car of my childhood, and it's kind of always been the kind of flashy car that appeals to some animal instinct in plebs like me. So naturally, we've seen a whole bunch of them in Lemons as knockoffs.
Spray Foam 250 GTO? Check. Jetta Rosa? Check. Fiero Rari? Checkmate.
However, the Scuderia Fartari Puntarossa is a pretty inspired Ferrari-ish piece, and underneath is one of the most forgettable crappy cars of the last 3 decades.
Before we talk about the car, the Puntarossa has been around for quite a while now, and it is run by the guys from Polyvance. They make all this cool plastic welding repair stuff. Their original theme was Sticky Man, which is the company logo, a superhero that fixes plastic, you know, like this, and he was on top of the car. Well, that was confusing even for Lemons, but, you know, that's okay, because tax deductible. Anyway, one day, they forgot their hood pins, hood came up, smashed everything on the top, and they said, you know what, as long as we're taking it apart, let's retheme.
So their prep time converted it into what could only be described as ChatGPT designs a Ferrari in 1979. To make the Ferrari-ness, they grafted on a Triumph TR7 nose for that 1970s wedge look, and then they put several cans of spray foam on the original body and slapped sheet metal over the foam with like 9 buckets of Bondo just to make huge flying buttresses. Then they capped it off with some red vinyl wrap on the doors, and the team had previously run some parts out of an airplane junkyard to make the wings, so they just added more of that. Rear wing from a Piper, front splitter off of a Cessna wing. The end result? Great looking Lemons car.
So now I'm sure you're dying to know, well, what is the incredibly boring car underneath all of that? Okay, base model 1997 Nissan 200 SX, which is basically the blobby, supposed to be sporty version of a Sentra and the Mind Reels.
There's room for 4 and a big honkin' trunk.
Now, these were all just awful, and this one had 225,000 miles on it. It really is from the very turning point where Nissan went from viable car maker to what we know today, and a tornado had dropped a tree on top. Okay, let's go.
The original engine only lasted a couple races, but they upgraded to the experts on the internet pick SR20DE engine out of a Sentra SER, and that did not last very long. But they came across somebody locally with a stash of JDM Nissan Primera SR20VE engines.
Oh shit.
And they scored one of those for cheap. Now, theoretically makes 170 horsepower, which Team Captain Kurt says is probably more like 130 on a cool day, but the JDM spec engine has crucially lasted more than 1 race.
Now, over the years, they acquired some cheap eBay coilovers, which they say actually makes it handle okay. They put in big Maxima brakes, that's always a good idea, and they stripped out the heater for weight. Well, first of all, the heater core weighs like, I don't know, 5 pounds. And secondly, the next race they did was Road Atlanta in 2017 when it snowed. Not a good idea. However, the Ferrari conversion did accomplish 2 things. It got them a Judge's Choice trophy, and it completely buried the unspeakably bad 200 SX styling. So well done.
Now, at their most recent race, they failed to have any major mechanical carnage, so Kurt says they may try to use that prep time to convert it to a different Ferrari. So if not a Puntarossa, what then? How about a Maranello, or a Moldena, or a Scat Lietti? You know, tell us in the comments what you think the next Ferrari should be for Scuderia Fartari.
Every second you don't subscribe or watch one of these videos, another Vega is sent to the crusher. Won't you help us save Classic?